Ohai. Plovdiv, in the past Filipopol, the second largest city of Bulgaria, the administrative center of the Plovdiv region. It is located in the southern part of the country. The railway junction, not of highways. The highway to Sofia. Plovdiv is located in the central part of the fertile Verkhanurkisky lowland, approximately in 150 km to the southeast from the capital of Bulgaria of Sofia, on the Maritsa River. In antiquity Jeber, which is naturally dividing the city into two parts. A northern part is known as the Northern City, or Kershiak. The ancient Greek writer Lucian Samasotsky extolled natural beauty of Plovdiv, located on three hills. Tremontium, at the bottom of the massive Rhodope. Actually, the city was located on 7 hills, one of them to Markovotepa. Markov the hill, destroyed 100 years ago when the city expanded. The stone cut from this hill was used for city construction. Three hills are visible clearly today. Bernardic. The hill with a source today officially is called the Hill of the Liberator, on the statue of the Soviet soldier better known established at his top as Alyash. Tugendam Infernal Hill, and Sakatepa. Sakatepa received the name because on there was clock tower. Plovdiv includes also other 3 hills. Tudzomtepa, Hill of Rope Walkers. Tiksimtepa, Water Separate Hill. And Nabatepa, Hill Guards. Pioneer settlements in borders of modern Plovdiv belong to the Neolithic era and about 6,000 years are dated BB. On Denis Radul's assurances, Plovdiv, one of the oldest cities of Europe. About 1200 there was the Thracian settlement. According to the Roman historian Ammian Marcellin, the having Evmolpia or Evmolpiad's name. In 342 BB the city was won by Philip II Macedon, who named him Filipopol in the honor. In the Thracian pronunciation of Pulpudiv. During this period the city bore also one more name, Odris. This name can be met on ancient bronze coins. In 72 BB Plovdiv was captured by legions of the Roman commander Mark Terentian Veron Lucal. In 45 AD, the city was a part of the Roman Empire, where became the center of the province of Thrace, and received the name Trimonti, the city of 3 hills. At this time the city was an important strong point of Romans. Through the important strategic viaduct Militaris road connecting the Balkans with the outside world ran and developed. The numerous ruins of the Roman constructions which remained up to now demonstrate to it, namely Hippodrome, aqueduct, terms and theatre. About 250 the city suffered from attacks Ready, in 395 was a part of the Byzantine Empire, and in 444-447 was devastated by Huns. At the Emperor Justinian the city was restored and in addition strengthened. Since the 8th century among residents the number of Paulicians increases and further the city became one of the centers of Bogomilism. In 812 the city was taken by troops of the Bulgarian Khan Krum. In 836 the city was included in structure of the First Bulgarian Kingdom and Pildan received a name. Since the 9th century the city became the center of the Bulgarian diocese. In the 11th century the city is for the first time mentioned under the name Plovdiv. At the end of 969. According to other sources, at the beginning of 970. The city was taken by troops of the Kiev Prince Svetoslav, and further was a part of Byzantium. About 1090 the city suffered from attack of Pechenegs. During the Third Crusade, 1189-1192, Plovdiv was destroyed. About 1198 is restored, and in 1204 is again captured by Crusaders, having become the center of the duchy. Ducatum di Fine Popol. At the end of the 1220th years Plovdiv was returned under the power of the Bulgarian Tsars by Ivan Asimov II. In the 1240th years, departed the Nicaean Empire, but in 1344 is again annexed to Bulgaria. In 1364 the city was occupied by Ottomans until 1382 remained the administrative center of the Vilayet of Rumelia. At this time the city lost the value as fortresses, and in 1410 city strengthenings were demolished. Under the power of Turks the city, which received the name Philip, develops as shopping center. In 1818 the city was almost completely destroyed by a powerful earthquake, but later is built up. In 1846 suffered from heavy fire. Gradually Plovdiv becomes the center of the Bulgarian revival. 11 on May 23. 1851 in Plovdiv for the first time celebrated Kirill and Methodi's Day. In 1861 in the city the Bulgaria's first gymnasium was opened. Plovdiv becomes the center of the Bulgarian national liberation movement. In 1869 Vasil Levski in Plovdiv created Revolutionary Committee. Residents participated in the April Revolt of 1876 suppressed by the Turkish authorities. During the Russian-Turkish War of 1877-1878 on January 2-7, 1878 near the city one of the final battles took place. The city was freed by the western group of the Russian army under I-5 Gurko's command. Further, according to conditions of the Berlin Treaties, in 1878 the city became the capital of semi-independent Eastern Rumelia, which united with the Principality Bulgaria in September 1885. In 1882 in Plovdiv the Bulgaria's first professional theatre was open. In the summer of 1892 there took place the first Plovdiv International Fair. Since 1933 become two annual. Since the beginning of the 20th century in Plovdiv developed the food and flavoring and textile industry. After the end of World War I the circus, the second in the country, after Capital Circus in Sofia, was constructed here. On April 14, 1928 Plovdiv seriously suffered from an earthquake. Restoration of the city dragged on in connection with the beginning of the world economic crisis. In 1932 the airfield was open. After the beginning of World War II Plovdiv was one of the centers of the movement in support of the Union of Bulgaria and the USSR. From fall of 1940 to summer of 1941 in the city took place actions in support of Sobolovskaya actions. Sympathies for the USSR were noted also in the subsequent time. In 1941-1944, The Plovdiv court-martial considered 83 cases about promotion in favor of the USSR. On March 1, 1941, Bulgaria joined the Pact of Rome-Berlin-Tokyo and was among the countries of Axis. Further in Plovdiv there arrived the German troops. The city became the main base of Luftwaffe in Bulgaria. At the beginning of July 1941, through the whole country, the roundup, as a result of which the communistic organizations were generally crushed, was carried out, but completely the resistance movement in the city wasn't destroyed. The Baki fighting group acting in Plovdiv carried out arsons at the Bitva and cartel factories working for Germans, as a result of which a part of the products which are turned out for Germans was damaged. Burned a tanning equipment warehouse for the German army, committed assaults on the German Bureau of Promotion and on a weapon warehouse. On May 22, 1942, in Plovdiv there began work the Soviet prospecting group, which was headed by the Bulgarian political emigrants G. Stoyanov S. and Cheva. The group was found by the German Center of Radio Interception at the end of February 1943, after a failure of an underground cell in Varna, is beaten as a result of operation of the German intelligence agencies and the Bulgarian police. In 1948-1949 the architectural complex of the International Fair was constructed here. In 1949 the Plovdiv plant of electrical accessories. In 1950 automobile plant, Vasil Kolarov, is put into operation. Since 1965 the plant of autoloaders. In September 1952, with assistance of the Gider in Plovdiv, construction of textile plant Maritsa, which was put into operation in January 1954, was begun. In 1953 in the city the Opera Theatre. In 1954 Summer Theatre and Sports Stadium was open. In 1954-1956 trolleybus traffic was open. In 1956 the historical part of the city, on the right riverbank Maritsa, received the status of the National Architectural and Historical Park. In the second half of the 20th century in the city development of mechanical engineering and chemical industry begins. In 1961 the Hristo Botev Stadium. In 1962, Wedding Palace. In 1967, Maritsa Hotel was open here. In 1979 the housing estate Thrace. Architect M. Sapinziva. In 1982, Stadium Locomotive. In 1985, Shopping Center Evmopaya is constructed. Plovdiv, the second in number of permanent residents, the Bulgarian city. The actual population of the city makes about 450,000 people in the working day. Together with Sofia and Varna enters into the three of the largest Bulgarian cities whose population actually exceeds card inhabitants. Population 1898 about 50000. 1973 card. 1985 card. 1998 345,200. 2000 344,976. 2005 341,464. 2014 368,900. Political situation. Komet. Mayor of Community Plovdiv, Stravko Dimitrov. Economy. Plovdiv, the second ambassador of Sofia, the industrial center of the country. Important center of the agricultural area of the Verkhnarkiski lowland. Food and flavoring, light industry. Cotton, silk and sewing. mechanical engineering, chemical industry, non-ferrous metallurgy, and also only factory in the country on production of tissue paper and cigarette filters. Since the beginning of the 1990th years, a part of the industrial enterprises is owned by foreign owners. The aircraft repair plant located in Plovdiv is included into the list of 11 strategic enterprises of military-industrial complex of the country. Plovdiv, one of the most important transport centers of Bulgaria. Today, to the north from the city highways of the International Valley run Highway Turkey, which is a part of the European Highway, Pan-European Transport Corridor 4 and Pan-European Transport Corridor 8. Since 1874, when through Plovdiv there passed the railway line Habibchevo-Bolovo. Expanded at the beginning of the 20th century to Sofia and Istanbul. Plovdiv is the main center of railway transport in the southern Bulgaria. In the city there is a management of the railroads of the southern Bulgaria. From the city there are lines on Old Zagora and Burgas, Karlovo, Panagirishte, Peshter, Hisar and Asenovrat. In Plovdiv public transport is developed. 29 bus lines and 10 lines of share taxis work. In 12 km to the southeast from the city the Plovdiv airport is located. Culture and sites. More than 200 buildings are announced by Monuments History and taken under protection. Since antique times in Plovdiv the remains of a city forum, stadium, theatre, a basilica, a term, public and residential buildings remained. Now the ancient theatre on 300 places is restored, and at it various representations and festivals will be organized again. The ancient downtown is surrounded by the remains of stone Thracian fortress. Within fortifications, narrow medieval streets and the civil building of the 15th, 19th centuries drawing attention with wood carving and decorative paintings. The main pedestrian street, Prince Alexander I, is built up with buildings of the 19th century. Since the Turkish dominion the mosques Duyuma Ap 1425 and Emiret 1444-1447. A bath of Chifthamam 1468 and baths Hortemezaburs 1582. And also one of the oldest in Europe clock tower remained. The Saint Churches of Week, Saint Diamit, both 1831, and Saint Marina Treat era of the Bulgarian Renaissance, 1853-54. It is necessary to distinguish ensemble of the International Fair, 1948-49. From more modern constructions of the city. On Hill Bernardik the monument to the Soviet soldier known as Alyash, 1955, is established. Plovdiv, the large cultural center, the archaeological museum. Since 1882. The Natural Science Museum. Since 1951. The Historical Museum. Since 1951. The Museum of the Bulgarian National Liberation Movement. Since 1956. The Ethnographic Museum and several art galleries work here. There is a number of theaters. Plovdiv Scientific and Training Center, the Plovdiv University, Research Institute of Vegetable Cultures Maritsa. Since 1929. Research Institute of Fruit Growing. Since 1950. The Agricultural University. Since 1945. The Medical University. Since 1945. The University of Food Technologies. Since 1953. Academy of Music, Dance and Fine Arts, and also National Library of Ivan Vazov work here. With 1879. Plovdiv became the cultural capital of Europe of 2019. Since 1949 in Plovdiv there takes place the International Boxing Championship. In the city there is a hippodrome, 3 stadiums and 4 football clubs. Both TEF and Lokomotiv repeatedly acted in the European football tournaments. In September 2018 the Rowing World Cup was held. Twin cities. Plovdiv has twinning relations with 23 cities. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.